And I think that some people maybe try to avoid that and feel like it's a weakness or feel like maybe they're being flighty or something.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well. Today's video looks a little bit different. My camera's broken, I think, and there's not much sunlight, so welcome. But I'm really excited to be sharing today's video. It is such a testament to just the power of following your intuition, to taking those chances, and really investing in yourself. So about a year ago, I found Latasha online. I found her on YouTube, and I binged all of her videos. I loved them. I found them super helpful. And then I decided to go ahead and invest in her coaching program, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I highly, highly recommend getting a coach or having a mentor if you're new in business or if you're needing help kind of getting things moving. And it was such a huge part of why I decided that I wanted to help and coach people, was doing that experience with her. And now a little over a year later, it's like the most insane thing to me that Latasha asked me to be on her podcast. And so we had a coffee break chat, and it was just the most incredible experience. And it just really felt, I don't know, like kind of like things came full circle. So I just wanted to share that little bit before I jump into the video, because it really was a big deal for me to invest in coaching. That's not something that I'd done before, and it was a bigger investment for me as like a new business owner. And I've had so much cool opportunity and learning and growth from working with Latasha. So yeah, just follow your dreams, and I hope you enjoy this video.
So today's episode, like I said, is a bonus episode. It's a coffee break episode with someone who I consider a friend, a teammate, an Instagram, TikTok goals. I could go on. Megan Krepikevich is here. Welcome to the show, Megan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So something that I think you really inspire me with is just how intentional you are. You've pivoted your business and readjusted kind of what what you're offering and what your plans are since I've known you. And I think that some people maybe try to avoid that and feel like it's a weakness or feel like maybe they're being flighty or something. But I completely disagree. I think that's a real strength. You know what you want, but at the same time, you're not afraid to go on a different path or try something new if you need to. So can you tell me a little bit about kind of your journey and how you've pivoted and adjusted things since you've started? Yeah.
Well, thank you for saying that. I definitely think that it's kind of like a good part of my personality, but a bad part of my personality at the same time, where like I really don't have the ability to like stick in it with things that I'm not really passionate about and like feeling. And what I think is that every time we take action, we're really just like gaining more tools and signs, and like even how your body responds to certain opportunities and things like that. And so I've really kind of taken this mindset of like, it's not a test. Nobody is sitting there at the end of the day saying like, you should have stuck this out and gone all the way and like you failure if you don't. Like there is no pass or fail. There's really just like putting the next piece of the puzzle in place in life. And so that's how I've really been focusing on what I do, is like taking those little tips and then shifting. And I think, like you said, it's totally okay to be shifting. Like the fact that we're supposed to figure out what we're doing at 18 and stay on that exact path the rest of life. Like, I don't really think that that's realistic, and that's not happiness at the end of the day if that's not where you want to be. So that's kind of always my mindset in moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Another thing I love about you is that you always have really, this is just the things I love about Megan show. So no, you always have really good recommendations, like resource recommendations, but you recommended this book to me and by Denise Duffield Thomas, and it's all about money manifestation. It's a really good read. We're adding it as a recommendation in my group next month. Maybe we should do a full book club for it. I don't know, because I could talk about it a lot, but I'm like a very pragmatic person. I've always kind of shied away from the whole like manifestation talk for a number of reasons, but I feel like this book was pragmatic, like the perfect blend of pragmatism and actual action and kind of, thinking outside of the box and seeing what's possible for yourself. So, yeah, I feel like that book did a really good job of just helping me open my eyes to how much opportunity was already in front of me. And the reason I bring that up is just kind of, adding on to what you were just talking about how changing opportunities and changing your path. Like sometimes we just have to take a step back and look at what's already in front of us, I think, and see what opportunities are available for us. So that's what I took away from it. Was that kind of what stood out to you too? Or do you have any other like tidbits from that book that you want to
Yeah,
share?
totally. And I think it kind of leads into what you were talking about, but just the crazy limiting mindsets that we have without even realizing. And I think that was probably one of the major things that I took away. And even in our conversation before about being okay with change, like even that's a limiting mindset, to think that you're supposed to figure it out and not change your mind, and that it's not okay to change your mind. And so even things with like how we envision what a very successful woman looks like. And we talked about that in the book, like Cruella de Vil and all of these in the stories that we've grown up with. Very successful women tend to be, I'm allowed to say bitch, like a bit of a, like we label them as a bitch or too aggressive. And there's kind of these like negative connotations with that if you take that in subconsciously, and I myself, as somebody who really values being a kind, friendly, generous person. So if that's how you picture yourself and you have this vision of ultra successful women as being something different, then it's not going to meet in the middle, right? And so it makes sense why we don't take action or we don't do these things, because of the limiting beliefs that we have. And I think that's really where like manifestation comes into play, is like believing that you have this ability and then taking the action that matches the potential instead of like where we're currently at. I guess, does that
Totally.
make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
And not just like giving up on it either. Okay,
Mhm.
so maybe we try one business model, or we, try one job or whatever, and
Mhm.
we fail at it. Like,
Right.
so that's okay. That's part of life. That's
Mhm.
one thing that I've learned. That's a big part of business, is failing upwards and making mistakes and
100%.
learning from it.
Mhm.
And I think if we just give up and say, oh, you know what, business isn't for me, or this job isn't for me, I'm not meant to have it. I don't deserve
Mhm.
it. I don't deserve
Mhm.
the success that I see from other people. Then we just give up and move on. But instead, it's about pivoting and like saying, okay, what can I do better? I do deserve this. And figuring out a different path forward.
Mhm. 100%.
I love that. Okay, let's pivot to the marketing side a little bit,
Okay.
because I can't let you go before picking your brain a little bit about TikTok. You're one of the few people
TikTok.
I know. Yeah, you're like one of the few people I know that actually uses TikTok as a creator, and not doesn't just lurk. That's what I do. I downloaded it because I'm like, okay, I'm in marketing. I have to at least watch it a little bit.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but in like a couple of minutes, like 3 minutes or less, what are a couple of key things that you feel like marketers, people in the industry should know about TikTok right now?
Yeah, so I think TikTok is just still such an undervalued thing. And I think because we don't get it. And a lot of times as a consumer, when you're looking from the outside in, you're just like, how does this ever, like, it's silly. This doesn't make any logical sense. This could be useful to me as a business or even as a resource to learn. And the amount that I've learned on TikTok is insane. Like marketing stuff, tech stuff, like everything. There's just so much information there. And so I think that just spending some time on the platform and seeing the weird little quirks and challenges, like it's its own world. And I think we have to treat it as such, which can be scary, but that's also the fun of it. Is it's a very, like, the pressure is off there. You can be a total loser. And that honestly, when I'm creating TikTok videos, I'm really just like, embrace your inner loser, because that's what tends to like perform best, is not taking yourself so seriously. So I think that there is a lot of value there. It's just kind of finding your way through the mess of TikTok to figure out where you belong. And the more that you start to interact with content that's more in line with what you're about, you'll start to see more of that. And the algorithm's like really dialed in there. So I think once you start to engage with a little bit more, you'll see more and more value, and then how you can kind of tweak that and use that for yourself.
Alexis liked your quote, embrace your inner loser. I feel like I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. I feel like that's like social media 101,
A
is you have to just have
100%.
fun with it, right?
Yes, it's so easy to take ourselves way too seriously.
So we want to be on TikTok. We want to take it in, enjoy it, but not too much, right? Because another thing that I have learned, and another gift I think that you have, is really honoring boundaries. with
Mhm.
technology and just like you mentioned, listening to your body and all of that stuff. So how can we, especially as people who own online businesses or manage social media for a living, how can we set healthy boundaries with technology and devices and social
Mhm.
media and all the things?
Oh my gosh, totally. It's so funny because my psychologist actually was like, you need to think of like social media and boundaries as like having your own, what did he call it? Like health and safety plan. Like that
Mm,
is your mental health. Like you need to have a plan the same way any corporation has a plan in their business, and think of it that way for yourself. So I try and be really mindful of that. But I think knowing yourself, and you can really start to, I think when you kind of are dialed into yourself, you start to notice those feelings that come up where you move from being inspired to comparison. And like, as soon as I start feeling that and I start feeling that sink in, especially as a creator and as a business owner, there's so many other people out there and so many ideas. And so when you start to feel like you're on this hamster wheel of like, this person said that and I need to implement that, and this person's doing better than me. And as soon as you kind of get those crazy, almost compulsive thoughts, like they're not your real thoughts anymore, you're kind of outside
mhm.
of yourself, I
Yeah.
think that's when it's time to like take a step back. And even if that's just muting people, like I'm very much about like do what you have to do for yourself, you know. And so we have the mute button, that's really
Yep.
great. If you want to move forward from that even and cut people out if you need to, then do that. Like I really think that that's where we're at with this crazy online world, is like you really have to just be okay with putting yourself first. And also it'll always be there tomorrow, because I think also we want to keep up and we want to be consistent, and that's
Yeah.
super important. Like it really is. But at the end of the day, it's social media and it'll be there tomorrow. And if you take a break, like the world will not collapse in the one day that you're gone, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Megan.
Thank you. I will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
So that wraps up my interview with Latasha. Thank you so much for having me. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video and that you found it helpful, and then it hopefully just gives you that little extra push to go ahead and take the risk, invest in yourself, and make things happen in your life. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And other than that, I will see you all next week. Bye guys.